Hello, this is Sophia, your language partner from Chatcraft English. In today's lesson, we are going to explore something very powerful, not just English words, but the habits and discipline that help you grow, learn, and succeed in life. Imagine this. The alarm rings in the morning. You open your eyes. The world feels quiet. For a short moment, you feel strong and ready. You whisper to yourself, "Today, I will change my life." But then something happens. The feeling fades. You start checking your phone. You see messages, social media, maybe even some bad news. Your mind becomes busy. That early power you felt is gone. Why does this happen? Why do we wake up with hope, but lose it so quickly? The truth is, motivation alone is not enough. Motivation is like a spark. It comes fast, but it disappears fast too. If you only wait for motivation, you will fail. So what do successful people do? How do they keep going even when they feel tired or lazy? The answer is discipline. Motivation is about feeling. Discipline is about action. Motivation asks, "Do I want to do this now?" Discipline says, "I will do it anyway." Let's think about this. Why do some people wake up early, exercise, and study every day, while others stop after 1 week? The difference is not motivation. The difference is discipline. But here is another question. How do we build discipline if our brain is always looking for comfort? Humans love comfort. We like soft beds, easy choices, quick rewards. Our brain wants to save energy. So when something feels hard, our brain says, "Stop, do it later." This is why so many people fail. They wait to feel ready. But the truth is, you will never feel completely ready. You must act first. The feeling will come later. Think of it like this. Your brain is like a lazy friend. If you listen to that friend, you will never grow. But if you train your brain, if you teach it to follow discipline, it will become strong. Now you may ask, how do I train my brain? How do I stop waiting for motivation? The answer is simple: habits. Discipline is built through habits. Habits are actions you repeat so many times that they become automatic. For example, brushing your teeth. You don't think, "Do I feel motivated to brush today?" No, you just do it. It's automatic. Imagine if studying English or exercising felt the same way. You don't think, you just do it. So here's the real question. How do you build habits that last? Start small, very small. Too many people want big change in 1 day. They say, "From tomorrow, I will run 10 kilometers. I will study 5 hours. I will eat only healthy food." But after 2 days, they quit. Why? Because it's too much. Instead, make the habit so small it feels almost silly. Run for 5 minutes. Study English for 10 minutes. Write 1 sentence in your journal. When it's easy, you will do it every day. And once you repeat it, the habit grows. This is called the power of small wins. Every small win builds trust in yourself. You prove that you can keep a promise. And when you believe in yourself, you can take bigger steps. So, why are small wins so important? Because they fight against the brain's laziness. Your brain cannot fight against something easy. If you say, "I must run 10 kilometers, your brain says, "No, that's too hard." But if you say, "I will just put on my shoes," your brain agrees. And once your shoes are on, maybe you walk, maybe you run a little, you start. That's the secret. Another important point. Success is not about speed. It's about consistency. It's not about doing a lot in 1 day. It's about doing a little every day. Think about water. A drop of water is small, but if drops keep falling, they can break a stone. That is the power of consistency. Now let's return to the morning. The alarm rings. You don't ask, "Do I feel motivated?" You don't wait for inspiration. You follow the system you built. Maybe you drink water. Maybe you write one line in your notebook. Maybe you open your English book for 10 minutes. These small actions are the seeds of big change. But here's another question. What about failure? What if you miss one day? Many people feel guilty and quit. But listen carefully. Missing once is not failure. Giving up is failure. If you miss a day, start again the next day. That's all. The key is not perfection. The key is returning. Always return to your habit. So, let's ask again. Why does motivation fade? Because feelings are temporary. How do we succeed without motivation? By building discipline and habits. How do we build habits? By starting small and being consistent. This is how real change begins. Not with one big explosion of energy, but with quiet, steady steps every day. We already know that motivation fades quickly. So the next question is, how do we create lasting discipline and strong habits? Think about this. Why do some people succeed when others give up? The answer is not luck. The answer is systems. A system is a set of daily actions that guide your life, even when you don't feel like doing them. A goal is about the result. A system is about the process. Let me explain. If your goal is to learn English, you might say, I want to speak fluently in 1 year. That is a goal. But a system is, I will listen to English for 15 minutes every morning. I will write 3 sentences every evening. The system is what takes you to the goal. So ask yourself, do I have a clear system? Or am I only chasing goals? Now, here's another important question. Why do people fail to follow their system? One reason is they try to change too many things at once. Imagine you say, I will wake up at 5 a.m., exercise for an hour, read 50 pages, and study English for 2 hours. It sounds great, but your brain will fight it. After 3 days, you stop. This is why successful people focus on small, repeatable systems. They understand that discipline is like a muscle. If you try to lift 100 kilograms on the first day, you will get hurt. But if you start with 5 kilograms and practice every day, soon you will be strong enough for 100. So, how can you create a system that works? Let's break it down. First, make it visible. If you want to read more, put a book on your pillow. If you want to drink more water, keep a bottle on your desk. If you want to study English, place your notebook near your bed so you see it first thing in the morning. Second, make it easy. Don't set the bar too high. If you plan to write 500 words a day, you might quit after 1 week. But if you start with 50 words, you can continue. Later, when the habit is strong, you can increase the numbers. Third, track your progress. Humans love to see growth. Make a calendar. Every day you complete the habit. Mark an X. Soon, you will see a chain of X marks. Your brain will say, I don't want to break the chain. This small trick keeps you going. Now let's ask, why is tracking so powerful? Because it gives you feedback. Feedback tells you, yes, I am moving forward. Without feedback, it's easy to feel lost. But let's face the truth. Even with a system, some days will be hard. You will feel tired, stressed, or busy. On those days, your brain will say, skip it. 1 day doesn't matter. So, how do we fight this? The answer is the 2-minute rule. If something feels too hard, do just 2 minutes. Open your notebook and write 1 line. Read 1 short paragraph. Do 5 push-ups. Usually, once you start, you keep going. Starting is the hardest part. This is how discipline is built, not by doing everything perfectly, but by doing something every single day. Let's think about another question. Why do we give up when things get boring? Motivation is strong when we feel excited, but habits often feel boring. The gym feels boring after 2 weeks. English practice feels boring after a month. Here's the secret. Success belongs to people who keep going even when it's boring. Champions are not the people who work only when it's fun. They are the people who work when it's boring, when it's quiet, when nobody is watching. So how do we make boring things easier? One way is to connect them with meaning. Ask yourself, why am I learning English? Maybe you want a better job. Maybe you want to travel. Maybe you want to connect with people around the world. Remind yourself of this reason every day. Another way is to combine habits with pleasure. For example, listen to English podcasts while drinking your morning coffee, or review new words while walking outside. This makes the habit feel lighter. Now, let's look at failure again. Why do people quit after failure? Because they think failure means they are weak. But failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. Think about a baby learning to walk. The baby falls many times. Does the baby quit? No. The baby keeps trying. And one day, the baby walks. Adults forget this simple truth. We think one fall means we cannot succeed. But falling is normal. The secret is to get up again. So, here are the key lessons. Build systems, not just goals. Make habits small, visible, and easy. Track your progress to stay motivated. Use the 2-minute rule when things feel heavy. Keep going even when it's boring. Accept failure as part of the journey. If you follow these steps, discipline becomes natural. You no longer wait for motivation. You act, you repeat, and slowly, you become the person you want to be. We've talked about discipline and habits. Now let's go deeper into another big question. Why does obsession beat talent every time? Many people admire talent. We see someone speaking English fluently, and we think, wow, they must be so smart. Or we hear a singer and say, they have a gift. But here's the truth. Talent without effort goes nowhere. Think of talent like a car. Even if the car is beautiful and powerful, it cannot move without fuel. Obsession is the fuel. Obsession makes you show up every day. It pushes you to practice even when it's boring, even when no one is watching, even when progress feels slow. Now let's ask, why is obsession so powerful? Because it keeps you in the game longer than talent alone. A talented person may quit when things get tough, but an obsessed person keeps going. And in the long run, the person who stays in the game wins. Here's an example. Imagine 2 students learning English. One has talent. He understands quickly and learns fast. The other struggles more. But the second student is obsessed. He listens to podcasts every day. He writes new sentences. He speaks even when he makes mistakes. At first, the talented student is ahead. But after 1 year, the obsessed student catches up. After 2 years, he passes the talented student. Why? Because talent without effort stops. Obsession never stops. So, how can you develop healthy obsession? One way is to remind yourself of your why. Why do you want to learn English? Is it for your career? For travels? For connection? When your reason is strong, your obsession grows. Another way is to stay curious. Obsession doesn't always mean hard pressure. It can mean excitement. You read a new article because you're curious. You listen to a new podcast because you want to know more. You try to speak with a stranger because you want the experience. Curiosity keeps obsession alive. Now let's move to another question. Why is waiting for someone to save you dangerous? It's easy to think, if I find the perfect teacher, then I will succeed. Or, if I take the perfect course, then everything will change. But this thinking is dangerous, because every day you wait, you lose time. The truth is no teacher, no course, No friend can do the work for you. A teacher can guide you, but they cannot speak English for you. A course can give you materials, but it cannot sit down and study in your place. So, what happens when you stop waiting? You take responsibility. Instead of asking, "Who will help me?" you ask, "What can I do right now?" This small change is powerful. The person who takes ownership of their growth never stays stuck for long. Let's be honest. Sometimes waiting feels safe. You say, "I will start when I find the right method." But deep down, this is fear. Fear of failing. Fear of trying. But here's the truth. Starting now, even imperfectly, is better than waiting forever. Now, let's talk about momentum. How do small wins create unstoppable momentum? Many people think success comes from one big step. But the truth is, success comes from many small wins, stacked together over time. For example, you learn 5 new words today. It feels small, but after 1 week, that's 35 words. After 1 month, that's more than 150 words. After 1 year, that's almost 2,000 words. That's not small. That's transformation. Here's another example. You read 1 page of a book each night. At first, it feels slow, but after a few months, you finish the book, then another, then another. Soon, reading in English feels natural. Why are small wins so powerful? Because they create a feeling of progress, and progress fuels motivation. When you see yourself moving forward, even in small steps, you want to keep going. There's also something called the chain effect. Once you have a chain of small wins, you don't want to break it. For example, if you have studied English every day for 30 days, the thought of breaking the chain feels painful. So you continue, not because of motivation, but because of momentum. Now, let's ask another question. Why is discipline more important than desire? Desire is the spark. It's the excitement you feel when you first start something new. Maybe you say, "I will learn English every day." But after 1 week, the excitement fades. Real life comes back. You feel busy. You feel tired. This is when discipline saves you. Discipline means you do the work even when you don't feel like it. You study your vocabulary even when you are tired. You practice speaking even when you feel shy. You read your page even when you are busy. Discipline is built by making promises to yourself and keeping them. At first, it feels hard, but over time, it becomes part of who you are. You no longer fight with yourself. You simply act, because this is now your identity. This is why discipline is more powerful than desire. Desire may start the journey, but discipline finishes it. So, what are the lessons here? Talent is nothing without obsession. Waiting for someone to save you wastes your life. Small wins create unstoppable momentum. Discipline is the true power behind success. If you remember these lessons, you will understand something important. Success is not about magic. It is about showing up, again and again, with focus and obsession. Why do we often make big plans but fail to act on them? We love the idea of planning. We write lists. We buy notebooks. We imagine the future version of ourselves fit, rich, confident. Planning feels good. It gives us hope. But planning is not the same as action. Action is harder. Action is messy. Action means risk. That is why many people stay stuck in planning. They feel busy, but they are not moving forward. So how do you escape the trap of endless planning? The answer is simple. Act small. Act now. Instead of writing a 10-step plan, just do the first step. Do it today. Do it even if it feels imperfect. Progress comes from movement, not from waiting for the perfect moment. Why is starting so powerful? Because momentum builds quickly. Think of pushing a car. At first, it feels impossible. It is heavy. You push and nothing happens. But if you keep pushing, slowly the car starts to move. Once it is rolling, it gets easier. The same is true for your goals. The first step is the hardest. But after that, the next step feels lighter. How can you make starting easier? One way is to lower the barrier. Make the first step so small that you cannot say no. Want to start running? Just put on your shoes and walk outside. Want to read more? Just open the book and read one page. Want to learn English? Just say one sentence out loud. These tiny steps may seem too small, but they break the wall of resistance. Why do people fear failure so much? Because failure feels painful. We think it means we are not good enough. But failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. Every successful person has failed many times. They learned from those failures. They used failure as feedback. How can you change your view of failure? See failure as information. If something doesn't work, it teaches you what to adjust. If you fall, it shows you where the ground is rough. Failure is a teacher, not a final judgment. The only real failure is to stop trying completely. Why is consistency more important than intensity? Because success is built on habits, not one-time efforts. Imagine brushing your teeth. If you brush for 2 hours once a year, it will not help. But if you brush for 2 minutes every day, your teeth stay healthy. The same rule applies to fitness, learning, business, or relationships. Small actions, repeated daily, create massive change over time. So how can you stay consistent? One method is to attach new habits to old habits. For example, after brushing your teeth, say one English phrase. After making coffee, write one sentence in your notebooks. When you tie a new habit to something you already do, it becomes automatic. Another method is to track your progress. Mark an X on your calendar each day you practice. Do not break the chain. The visual progress keeps you motivated. Why do people give up when they do not see quick results? Because we expect success to be fast. We live in a world of instant results. Fast food, fast internet, fast delivery. But real growth is not instant. It is invisible for a while. Think of bamboo. For years, nothing happens above the ground. Then suddenly, it grows tall and strong. Your progress is the same. At first, it may seem invisible, but beneath the surface, change is happening. If you stay consistent, the results will show. How can you keep hope when results are slow? By focusing on the process, not just the outcome. Instead of asking, "Why am I not fluent yet?" ask, "Did I practice today?" Instead of saying, "Why am I not fit yet?" say, "Did I exercise today?" When you focus on the process, you feel successful every day. This keeps you going until the results arrive. Why should you celebrate small wins? Because small wins build confidence. When you recognize your progress, you feel proud. That pride gives you energy for the next step. It also trains your brain to associate effort with reward. Even something simple like finishing one page, saying one sentence, or doing one push-up deserves a small celebration. Smile. Say to yourself, "I did it." Over time, these celebrations turn effort into joy. So, the secret is not in chasing motivation. It is in action, consistency, learning from failure, and celebrating small wins. These are the real building blocks of progress. Why do we often stop just before success? Because the last mile feels the hardest. Imagine climbing a mountain. At the start, you feel fresh. In the middle, you find your rhythm. But near the top, the air is thin. Your legs are tired. And quitting feels tempting. Many people quit here just before the view. Success often hides right after struggle. How can you push through the hardest moments? By remembering your why. Ask yourself, why did you start? Why does this goal matter? If your reason is strong, it will carry you through the pain. You can also break the hard part into smaller pieces. Do not focus on the whole mountain. Just take the next step. Then the next. Step by step. You reach the top. Why is patience so important? Because real change takes time. A seed does not become a tree overnight. It needs water, sunlight, and seasons. The same is true for your growth. You need time to learn, to fail, to try again, to improve. Impatience kills dreams. Patience keeps them alive. How can you practice patience? By trusting the process. Remind yourself, I am planting, I am watering, I am growing even if I cannot see it yet. Focus on what you control today and let time do the rest. Progress is not always visible, but it is always happening if you stay consistent. Why do people avoid discomfort? Because comfort feels safe. But growth never lives in comfort. Comfort is where you are now. Growth is where you want to be. The space between them is uncomfortable. That discomfort is a sign that you are expanding. How can you embrace discomfort? By reframing it. Instead of saying, this is painful, say, this is growth. Instead of saying, this is scary, say, this is new. Discomfort is proof that you are moving beyond your old limits. Learn to welcome it, and you will grow faster than you ever imagined. Why is action more powerful than motivation? Because motivation fades. But action creates results. Action builds momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence creates more action. This cycle is stronger than waiting for the perfect mood. Do not ask, do I feel ready? Ask, what can I do now? Then do it. How can you make action your habit? By keeping it small, simple, and daily. Big dreams are built from small actions. A book is written 1 page at a time. Fluency is built 1 sentence at a time. Strength is built 1 workout at a time. If you can master daily action, success cannot escape you. Why is it important to own your progress? Because no one else can walk your path. Coaches, teachers, friends, they can support you. But only you can take the steps. Only you can decide to continue. When you own your progress, you also own your power. You stop waiting for someone else to save you. You become the driver of your life. So, what is the final message? Do not wait for motivation. Build discipline. Do not fear failure. Use it as feedback. Do not chase perfection. Chase progress. Take small steps. Stay consistent. Be patient. And celebrate every win. Growth is not a one-time event. It is a daily practice. Your journey is yours. Every action you take is a seed. Plant them, water them, and let time do its work. One day, you will look back and see how far you have come. And you will realize success was never about one big leap. It was about the many small steps you chose to take. Every single day,